Hey, geeks. Let's take a look at what's in this week's new comic book haul. This is from last Wednesday. You can see here October 1st for this issue of Comic Shop News. What did I get? Kraken. Release the Kraken. I think, yeah, this is new. It was in the new comics rack. It's a graphic novel. Monster Forge Productions, Titan Comics. I didn't hear about this, didn't know about it. Just saw it there and thought the cover looked kind of Hellboyish. Mike Mignola artwork. I'm pretty sure that's who did this cover. And I thought, oh, okay, is this part of the Hellboy universe? Turns out it wasn't. It's Titan Books, as we saw. But it is monster hunting genre. And I flipped through it. I liked the artwork. I liked the synopsis. And it's got, from what I read and what I saw, it's got kind of like Indiana Jones, H.P. Lovecraft vibes to it. I believe most of it's based on the water, so there's like a naval aspect to it, which would make sense since the title is Kraken, and one assumes at some point there will be a releasing of the Kraken. So, yeah, it looks pretty cool. So I grabbed it. Very moderately, reasonably priced. I think it was $14.99. $17.99. Yeah. So, you know, Marvel or DC, this would be like a $25 book minimum. Absolute Evil, issue number 1. So the DC All-In saga continues. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a limited miniseries. I don't know how many issues, maybe 4, maybe 5. And I don't recall the synopsis of it, but clearly it's some coming together of the supervillains. And it has some implications for the ongoing All-In / Absolute saga that's going on with DC Comics. This almost looks kind of like it's set in the 40s or the 30s. There's Wildcat. R.I.P. Wildcat. I was catching up on my JSAs a couple of nights ago, and they actually killed him off, which didn't see that coming. And it looked like it was pretty permanent, too. I mean, you know, nobody's really ever dead forever in the comics, but seemed like they were pretty serious about it. And it kind of, I don't know, it kind of ticked me off, actually, the way they did it. So anyway, in fact, I was actually considering doing a post about that, or even a video, possibly. So yeah, issue number 1. Let's see what this is all about. I think you see that's the Joker's hand. Maybe Two-Face, Lex Luthor. I can't really tell the others. Starship Godzilla, issue number 1. This looks like, I like the artwork in this. I don't really dig the artwork that's going on in the other flagship Godzilla title right now, but this one definitely seems to have some spunk to it. And I don't really know much about it. Yeah, here we go. This is what you want. I don't know too much about it, but it's a starship, and I think it's a starship in the form of Godzilla, as we can see. So, yes, I think we can confirm that in this panel as to how this starship in the form of Godzilla, or Mecha Godzilla, came to be. That's why you got to read the comic. So yeah, this looks pretty cool. I'm gonna dig that, I think. VR Troopers issue number 3. I've got issues number 1 and 2. I haven't read 1 and 2 or 3, so I can't really comment on this. I know it's kind of sort of a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers type thing, or like sort of a Japanese Super Sentai idea, but beyond that, I don't know much about it, other than it looked kind of interesting, so I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to read these 3 issues and see where that takes me. Not totally enamored with the artwork, but if the story's decent, it'll be a winner in my book. Red Shirts number 3. I read issue number 1. I haven't read issue number 2 yet. And this is issue number 3. As far as I can tell, this is exactly what you would expect it to be. It's a lot of Star Trek Federation of Planet red shirts, and they just die. They go on missions, and they die. And that's pretty much how Star Trek was. So there's characters, there's a story arc in it. They set it all up in the first issue, so it was entertaining enough. And I think it's a cool idea. I mean, because people always joked about the red shirt security teams and how they would just like be the first to get wiped out in every episode of Star Trek. So. Department of Truth, issue number 0. So this apparently represents a new arc for Department of Truth. I read, I have a lot of catching up to do here. I've read like the first 1 or 2 trade paperbacks from the very beginning. So that's going back a number of years. And from what I understand, yeah, they're bringing in Scott Snyder now. I don't know if he's taken over for Tinian or not, but he's definitely going to be involved going forward as a writer. I'm not sure to what extent. Maybe just writing half an issue, like a different story or something. But yeah, I like this series, and I what I'm planning on doing is just catching up with the I think there's 1 or 2 omnibuses out there now. So I'm going to probably catch up that way. But I've been collecting the floppies since about issue, 36, 37, 38, 39, and then we've dropped onto this 0 issue. Still really cool artwork. This sort of painted watercolor, acrylic style. And apparently Lee Harvey Oswald is still running the Ministry of Truth, or the Department of Truth, and they're uncovering all kinds of nefarious conspiracies and paranormal activity. So it's a cool book, or at least the ones that I read was pretty cool, enough to keep me wanting to read through the whole saga. So Red Hulk number 9. I'm a little bit behind here. I haven't read issue 8 and not issue 9, so 9 just dropped last Wednesday. Like this cover though. This is a cool cover. Yeah, but I like this book. I like it so far. Got no complaints. It's pretty cool. It's basically Team Red Hulk and his sort of ragtag team of Mr. Miracle and Deathlock, and they picked her up last issue, and I don't know who she is. She's a newer character in the Marvel universe, so I'm not familiar with her. I thought she was an X-Men, possibly, with the X-Men. But anyway, it kind of looks like they got a new artist on the book too. So, but I like the art in this book too. It doesn't look like so much of the house style you see in Marvel a lot. I like the heavy ink that's coming on in this book, and just gives more weight to the action. And there's a lot of action in this book. I mean, this book is basically nonstop action, which I think is what I've liked about it. And it kind of just reminds me of the 70s books where you just kind of have these teams that are just sort of kind of against the world. for various reasons. In this case, they're fighting the obviously the one world under Doctor Doom. Oh, and I got a variant deal on it. So with my LCS, you buy the variant and you get the regular copy for free. And I like the cover on this one so much that I went ahead and did that variant deal. And this is like $10.99, but you get 2 books for that $10.99. So it's actually a pretty good deal. I don't know who did this cover yet, but I grabbed it because I liked it. It's pretty cool. I mean, you got this badass Machine Man, and you got badass Deathlock, badass Red Hulk. So you know, you can't go wrong there. This is the Batman #2. This is the Matt Fraction Batman. I have issue #1, which it seems like that just came out. And this issue dropped here pretty quick. So yeah, I still got to read issue 1 and then issue 2. I haven't really heard anybody talking about this book yet. There was a decent amount of hype about it, but I don't know. You know, I've also been collecting that new Immortal Batman, which is kind of like a more anime spin on it, I think. Got to get a slug of that coffee. So, yeah. We'll see. But I like Matt Fraction. I love the work he did with Iron Man, probably about 10 years back. I think, what was that, between like 2012 and 2014? I recently actually read that entire run all the way through. There were 3 epic modern collections, Marvel epic modern collections of the Fraction run for Iron Man, and I read those all the way through. And it was pretty cool, especially the first one. It kind of got a little, I don't know, a little scattershot with the plotting and the story in the 3rd volume, but it was worth keeping up with, you know, because it really did serve as one of the biggest inspirations for the Iron Man movies that, of course, were so popular in the MCU. So, Cruel Universe #3. Yeah, #3. This is kind of a homage to EC Comics from the 50s. And I've got all 3 issues of this. Some people have been recommending this to me. It's an anthology. It's a sci-fi, suspense, and horror anthology in the classic manner, I think, of the old EC Comics. So I need to sit down and read all 3 issues. Different writers, different artists. Yeah, and we'll see where it goes from there. JSA issue #12, Ragnarok Part 2, which is really weird how they've been... I don't understand this Ragnarok titling they're doing, because I read through all of these JSAs last week, except I think for issue 6, maybe issue 4. I was missing those, but I read all the way up to issue 11. And like all of them are called Ragnarok. Part 1, Ragnarok. I don't know. I'm not sure what they're getting at with this. So, I mean, I understand the connection because Wotan is the main villain in this. And essentially they're unleashing the H.P. Lovecraft Cthulhian old ones onto the earth. And in that process, Wildcat died, R.I.P. Yeah, I had some mixed feelings about JSA. It's really should be called JSA The New Generation, because the old timers kind of take a back seat for the first 10 issues or so. And there's just, I don't know, some of the character developments in this book are a little bit too whiny for my tastes. The art has been hit or miss. I think I like the art here that I'm seeing here, but some of the art in the earlier issues, I was just not really impressed with it. Some So we'll see. I mean, it's enough to. Oh yeah, see, there's Wildcat. He's appearing as a ghost now. It's kind of a spoiler. I'm sorry, but they're all appearing as ghosts now. But there's some, I don't know, there's some speculation that they may actually be sort of like just in an alternate dimension, which could be, I guess, like, they're in an alternate dimension where they're dead. I don't know. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I guess this is kind of the part 2. I don't know if there's going to be a part 3, but this is sort of the climax of what they've been building up for the past 11 issues. But I don't know how I would stack it against. This is Wildcat's daughter, by the way. Her character is actually. I don't know. There's a lot of whining in this book. I guess there's a lot of characters that just whine in this book, and it gets a little grating after a while. So things might turn for the better, though. We'll see. Tales of the Shadowman, issue number 2. So the Valiant Beyond continues. This is, I guess, kind of another reboot of the Valiant universe. I didn't read issue number 1 yet. It seems like that just came out too, like a week or 2 ago. So yeah, but Shadowman is cool. Looks like basically they do have a lot of the same characters. I think her name is Annie, I think, and that's Shadowman, of course. He's kind of got a new look, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. Here's his driver's license. So, yeah, I'll have to sit down and read these. But they're, Valiant Beyond, what do they do? They've relaunched Harbinger, they've relaunched Exo-Man of War, they've relaunched Shadowman as Tales of the Shadowman. So I don't know if this is like a just sort of an anthology of Shadowman tales, or if it's another sort of continuation of the story, but we'll find out. Adventures of Superman, Book of L, issue number 2. I've got issue number 1 too. This is I guess another mini series. A lot of this stuff going on with Superman, with these other books and stuff, sort of fits in, I think, with what's going on in the All-In and Absolute universes, and the run-up to Darkseid's reappearance, which he has reappeared. If you've seen the DCKO Ashcan, which dropped on the 27th of September, Darkseid physically does reappear. So, yeah, a lot of this stuff is connected to, I think, what's going on with this big showdown that's, coming up, I think, later this year or early next year. And this is part of that Justice League the Omega Act special, another prelude to DCKO. It's kind of a homage to the Superman Supergirl cover from Crisis on Infinite Earths, but in this case, Booster Gold. Booster Gold is kind of a central figure in this All-In Absolute epic arc with DC right now. So, yeah, I think this is a one-shot comic. So they're coming out with some of these books here. Let's see. Doomsday is upon us. Oh, so, okay, so Doomsday's in this one. So I wonder if this is like Doomsday just kind of reappears, and maybe he ends up fighting in the KO showdown to maybe Doomsday will end up turning good and fighting Darkseid. That would be interesting. Yeah, this looks pretty good. I like the artwork is pretty epic in this, which it should be. Whenever you've got Doomsday involved, you should have some pretty epic showdowns. So, all right. Looks good. We'll check it out. Speaking of H.P. Lovecraft, The Last Day of H.P. Lovecraft. Now, I don't know if this is a one-shot or if it's a mini-series, because we're only talking about one day, right? Since it's the last day. So how many issues can it run? Yeah, I don't know anything about this other than it's about H.P. Lovecraft. It's clearly not autobiographical, It's not a biography or maybe it is to a certain extent. I think it's an alternate history is what it is, I think. So you're going to mix probably actual historical elements of H.P. Lovecraft's life with the fantasticism of his storytelling. Yeah, so you even see a copy of Robert E. Howard's Conan there, and he and Lovecraft were contemporaries, and I think they were friends, because Robert E. wrote some of the Cthulhu mythos for Lovecraft. So yeah, I think cool artwork here though. Really good watercolor, I think it looks like here. Yeah, pencil and watercolor. So it's got that going for it. And a book like this should have artwork like this. It should have this kind of strange watercolorish, dreamy quality to it. Yeah, so it should be interesting, Spirits of Violence, Marvel Comics. All new Ghost Rider Epic starts here. I wasn't even going to buy this, but I flipped through it, and I liked the artwork. There's a homage to Jim Shooter. Rest in peace. I like Jim Shooter. I really don't have any issue with him, but I didn't have to work for him. But I like what he did with Marvel. But yeah, I flipped through this, and I was kind of like, yeah, the artwork looks pretty cool. And apparently you have multiple Ghost Riders in it. And so it's leading up to, I guess, some kind of new ongoing Ghost Rider series. So, yeah, we'll see. I figured, yeah, it's worth giving it a shot. Rough Cut. So this is issue 1 of 2. So I think this is a sequel to that other issue of She, which I guess was a one-shot that came out about a month or two ago, the one where her daughter got kidnapped. And they left it on a cliffhanger, and so in this one I assume she's going to rescue her daughter from the villain. But I don't know. For sure. I got to check it out. But it's kind of I wouldn't say it's a double size, but it's not a floppy either per se. It's a very it's not stapled. It's a glued, larger comic, I guess. It's not double size though. It looks like it's only about 30 pages. So I don't know. But it was it's $7.99. I don't know if it needed to be $7.99. It probably could have been $6.99. But yeah, I wanted to check it out and see what happened. I wanted to see how the cliffhanger got resolved. A couple of other things I just bagged and boarded. Racerx #1. I think this came out a couple weeks ago. I was flipping through this. I haven't read it yet. I flipped through it. Actually, I didn't like the artwork. It looked like that standard mechanical pencil setting on your iPad tablet with some digital coloring. And I expect more from a Racerx comic. There should be more of an anime look to it with a lot of a little heavier on the ink lines, but a lot of color, a lot of pop, a lot of neon, And that this looked like your standard Marvel or DC house style art within. I didn't like that. There's that Godzilla issue 2, not Starship, but this is the new Godzilla, what do they call it? The Kaisei era. This is another book. I read the first issue. It was somewhat interesting, but I'm going to read the next 2 issues and see if I want to go forward with it. Godzilla, Here There Be Aliens. Love this cover. Love this cover of Jet Jaguar hanging out in this diner. I think I read the first issue. But if I recall correctly, this is supposed to be... No, I didn't read the first issue. I would have remembered that. But I have issues 1, 2, and 3. This is supposed to be, I think... Is it a crossover with the aliens of the Tim Burton movie? Or it seems like they've done that before, so... Not entirely sure. where they're going with this, but it's in my to read pile. So, all right, it's just a quick look of last week's haul. I've got 1, 2, 7, 25, 35, 80 probably other things I could show you. But we'll keep this one to 25 minutes. And just run through these covers again. Yeah, I'm gonna bag and board all these up. So that's what I was doing. I was going through that process, and I thought, okay, well, I haven't made a video in about a month, so I decided, let's show off some modern contemporary comics, because there is some, there's some decent stuff out there. I would say, most of these, I like them. Any grievances I had, I've already aired those in this video, but for the most part, I find these to be worth buying and worth reading. So, and maybe you will be too. So go to your local comic shop, and if they're not on the rack still, they're probably in the back issue racks, and you can check them out. Until the next one, stay geek.